Hi everyone, it's Sarah from Tough Girl Challenges. Before I went out to the MDS, I talked to you a little bit about some of the clothing that I was taking. So I wanted to do a little review, especially around my compression gear. So what I took out these 2XU compression pants, and these are they're a size small, but they're also like a tall, so you can get like small and small and small and tall. So these fitted me really well. And if you go back to the previous video, I sort of show you the inside of them, and they've got this like amazing memory foam, which you can see, which supports all of your legs. So I had a big question because I'd never actually trained in this compression gear, and but this is like really specialist. So it whips all the sweat away. It's antibacterial. It stops it smelling. All of those things, and I didn't know whether to run in these or my old black pants, which didn't have any of the specialist gear, but which I trained in. So in the end, I did decide to run in my compression gear, and to be honest, it was a really good decision. So when you put these on, you feel your legs just feel like massively supported, and obviously it's all very compressed, which is fantastic. Now, with these ones, as well as running in them, you can also wear them for recovery. So what I ended up doing for like the first 3 days was actually wearing these non-stop. So I wore them, I slept in them, I wore them, I ran in them, I slept in them, I wore them, I ran in them, I slept in them. And then obviously started to get really pretty disgusting. The other thing that happened is when I was running along, and you have your water bottles up here, my water bottle started to leak and the water would hit down on my thighs. So I get back to camp at night and I take my compression gear off, and my thighs would just be covered in like red blotches. It was like this massive sort of heat rash pretty much all the way down my legs. And it also got to the point whereas in the evenings when I was trying to sleep, I couldn't actually sleep wearing compression gear. So I would definitely run in them, but I'm not sure I'd end up sleeping in them. So for the last couple of days, I couldn't really sleep in them. The other thing that happened, which didn't even cross my mind, is they obviously they got harder and harder and harder as the days wore on. So it's like the salt coming out of you, and they just sort of almost like cardboard. And trying to get them on over your feet as well was incredibly challenging. I mostly spent about 4 or 5 minutes every day trying to actually put the compression gear on. Once it was on, absolutely fine, no issues at all. Taking it off as well, it was like my feet had swelled in the desert, and so trying to take them off, it was a huge issue. But running compression, I definitely run in compression. I didn't end up sleeping in it, apart from the first 3 days. So I think I would definitely take the compression gear again. My compression top, which I ran in, so this was the short sleeve 2XU top, and it had all the air vents on the side. This was again really fantastic. Didn't have any issues with it. It was actually quite nice to wear it. It did get harder and harder and harder to put on. So I used to have to get help sort of fitting on because it is just so compressed. I took out this long sleeve compression top also by 2XU. Now, originally I just travelled in this 2XU and I was actually going to leave it behind and just leave it in the suitcase. But the first night we got to camp, I was absolutely freezing. So one of the things that I hate is being cold and being wet, and it was just the coldness in the desert at night. It shocked me actually, especially the first night. I had every single item of clothing I owned I was wearing, and I was in my sleeping bag, my raid light sleeping bag, and I was freezing. And my thoughts were, I do not know how I'm going to cope with this if it continues to be this cold at night, because I didn't have enough clothing to wear. So I ended up keeping my compression top out, and also a black fleece as well, which was quite thick. It was quite heavy, just because I needed the extra layers because it was just so cold at night. So first couple of nights I did sleep in my compression top. So it's a long sleeve 2XU top. Again, to be fair, it feels amazing on your skin, but incredibly difficult to get on. But that was just more for my recovery than anything else. I only really did that for the first 3 days. For the final couple of days, what I found was that I actually didn't want anything that tight on me after running in it. So I just ended up wearing my buff ta-da, as basically a boob tube just to take the pressure off your shoulders. And it was also, I was getting back at maybe 2:30 in the afternoon, or 3 o'clock, so it was still really quite nice and warm. So putting on compression gear then wasn't ideal. And it also, luckily, it started to warm up a lot later on in the evening, so you could just sleep in your pants, and this is like a boob tube, so that was absolutely fine. But obviously this is quite expensive, so I didn't want to bin it, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to carry the extra weight with me. So I don't actually think there's any hard and fast rules about what you wear over in the desert. There's pros and cons to pretty much everything. Again, I think it's what you're comfortable with and what you like. There were some people who were wearing just the compression guards to run in, but having huge problems with them, partly because their feet were swelling because of the heat, and so the compression was cutting off the circulation, especially around the ankles. And so what ended up happening is they were getting blisters all the way around from their compression gear. And also, right where that ended is where you'd have your gaiters. So you've got your compression down here, then you've got your gaiters over the top, and it's just that incredibly tight area. So a lot of people actually didn't wear their compression calf guards, but people did use them to recover in. So there's pros and cons to both, and you've just got to work out what's going to be best for you. Is it more about you want that extra support while you're running, or is it that you want that extra help when you're recovering? So all in all, I was pretty happy with my choice of wearing compression gear, and I think I'd wear it again if I did the race again. Anyway, any questions or want more information, go and check out toughgirlchallenges.com. I'll also be uploading more sort of short videos on the YouTube channel and blogging about various aspects of the Marathon des Sables, health, fitness, all that sort of thing on Tough Girl Challenges website. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.